high levels of poverty,
unemployment,
stigma and discrimination,
gender-based violence,
sexual harassment,
early marriages and pregnancies,
drug abuse,
leadership and governance.
These are some of the pressing issues affecting our communities.
Raise your voice and speak up because you are the solution.
And by working together, we can create locally driven solutions that can transform our society and the world. Be a voice of change today.
Impact Show, the voice of change.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another broadcast of our Impact Show, and I'm your host, Chuma Mulimba. Today, we'll be discussing one of the most pressing issues in our societies today. And on our show today, we've got our guest from Powering Young Initiatives, and we'll give him a chance to introduce himself. Good morning, sir. Can you please introduce yourselves to our viewers?
Good morning. My name is John Kakandelwa. I'm the founding director of Powering Young Initiatives.
Okay. Mr. Kakandelwa, can you please tell us a bit more about your organization and what you do?
We are a non-governmental organization. We were founded in 2019 on 5th July. We are based in Livingstone. We have membership in Lusaka, Copperbelt, Monze, Mungu, and Mansa.
Okay.
We are a not-for-profit making organization.
Okay.
We address climate change action, eco-inclusive enterprise development, reproductive health education, and accountability and advocacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kakandelwa. So what do you think are the most pressing issues on climate change today in our society?
Yeah, the most pressing issues on climate change today in our society are quite many, but I will just mention a few of them.
Okay.
There's plastic pollution, the cutting down of trees. Those are the most affecting issues right now in the environment. As you can know that, you can be aware that plastic pollution is a hazardous condition now because despite a lot of plastic and manufacturers of those plastics don't even care about where the plastics go after they've produced them. So it is estimated that in the near future plastic will be all over and the oceans will be filled by plastics. So which means that our water in the near future is going to be contaminated by plastic. Also, the cutting off of trees is also a very big challenge right now because there's market for charcoal.
Yeah,
Yes. Those people who cut trees, they know that when they make malasha or charcoal out of it, they will take the charcoal in the cities where customers or even us here right now we are beneficiaries of the charcoal. So there's need for alternative source of energy so that people can stop the cutting down of trees. There's a lot of work right now going on in terms of sensitizing the people in the communities, but they need to be provided with alternatives, because if you just sensitize people with like they should stop cutting trees, just talk, just talking every day, but no action, it doesn't make sense because yes, the talking, we have resources, we can talk, but what next after you talk? So there's need of providing alternative source of energy so that people can stop cutting trees. And that can only be done when we get support, when policies are strengthened, like no one should be allowed to cut the tree anyhow. Yeah, people should be arrested for cutting trees because when you arrest them, they're going to be scared. They will stop cutting trees. But before you do that, you need to provide alternative source of energy, because they entirely depend on that, and people entirely depend on charcoal for selling. They are taking their children to school. They're doing a lot of things out of it. And people in cities, in towns like Livingston, they are buying charcoal even if they have electricity. But they still buy charcoal because they feel that maybe the units are expensive. So maybe if we buy charcoal, we are going to be relieved a little bit in terms of our income will not be affected because we are going to spend less. So there's quite a lot of work that we need to do on those effects of climate change.
Yeah. So how has your organization, or how is your organization working towards making an impact on climate change, or changing the notion on climate change and how things are done in our societies today?
So as an organization, we have done quite a lot, but we are not doing as we are supposed to do because we are lacking quite a lot of resources to use. For example, if you want to go out in the community, talk to the people about the effects of cutting trees, we don't have transport, we don't have resources. So eventually we just end up working in the communities where we belong. So like here in Livingston, what we are doing, we work with other organizations to go out there in the national park to remove snares put by illegal snares put by poachers. We remove snares from there, we pick plastic bottles. We also adopt the trees. We say, okay, this tree should not be cut. We go there, we make sure that we clear, but if the bushfire comes, the tree is not burned. Apart of that, we also ask people not to burn their forest, because there's a tendency of burning the forest every year. But now we are trying to engage the chiefs in their chiefdoms, because people should stop burning. Because the burning of forest also is a problem. It's also affecting the environment. So apart of that, we are also engaging the policymakers to just come in and try to enforce the bills that talks about protection of the environment, so that the environment is not harmed in any way, because we need this environment in the end. So briefly, that's what we've done. We've also advocated on a national level and international level, where we advocated for global youth statement, loss and damage. You know, a lot of big countries, big industries producing pollution, and eventually the people affected are us, who don't even have big industries. So we pushed for loss and damage, where we contributed very much in the development of the global youth statement, which was pushed to COP27 last year in 2022. So we've helped a lot. Now we've sent young people to go and speak about how climate change is affecting African young people, our communities, in where we live in the world, and the environment where we live from. So we've done quite a lot of work in trying to push for climate change policies. Yes.
Okay, so talking about COP28, how has your organization brought things back home? Like what you learned, or what impacts, what changes you suggested to our international market? How has your organization brought it back home? What programs have you put in line back home in Zambia to make change on climate change action?
Yes. First, before I come to COP28, let me say we actively participated in COP27 last year, where we were appointed as a country contact point for Zambia and lead delegate for the youths. We're going to COI 17. COI 17, that's where the Global Youth Statement is developed from. Then that Global Youth Statement is pushed to COP. So our role in that was to facilitate visa support letters for delegates who were going to Egypt. By that time, the COP was in Egypt. We also shared the application for young people to apply so that they can participate even in COP 27 and COI 17. So that we did, and our organization actually played a very vital role in that, and we did quite a lot. It's not only COP 27, but we were also nominated as an organization to go and speak at World Urban Forum in Katowice in Poland, where we picked one of a youth here in Livingston by the name of Theodora Siatowot, who went to speak at the World Urban Forum in the Children and Youth Assembly, where she presented Zambia on how young people are affected by climate change. So you can see we are trying to create a lot of space for young people to speak even at that level where their voices should be heard. So what we want is that when they speak at that level, then we enforce the policies to make sure that whatever young people demand for, it is put into practice. So that's what we did last year. Now for this year in COP28, we participated in the development of we demanded that there should be climate friendly food, where we pushed for a global youth call, where we were asking or demanding that friendly food that is healthy and natural food should be provided at COP28. So we, and with other organizations, wrote a petition to COP28, and that was working, and it is working. Right now COP is on, it's going on, and a number of young people from Zambia traveled to Dubai where COP28 is taking place. So that's what we are trying to do, and that's what we are doing as an organization here in Zambia. Yes.
I bet you're actually proud of the things you've done this year and the previous year, right?
Yes, yeah, we are proud of that. It's really nice, and we feel that we are doing quite a lot of work to trying to support young people, and so that their voices can be heard. Yes.
No, that's actually good. You're actually putting Zambia on the map. People are actually knowing that we've got people here in Zambia who can critically analyze some situations. So, what role do you think the government can play against climate change?
So, the government, people complain a lot, and they think that the government has got all the solutions to what. But it's not like that. It is us people who should work with the government and trying to solve the climate change. Because the climate change is a big issue. It's not just like the way people are modernizing it right now, where you can see big organizations, they go out in the street, they pick plastics, they take pictures, then the event ends. After 4 hours, 3 hours, plastics all over again. So what we are asking the government is to put the policies, to make laws that can control that. Because if you don't make laws, things are going to get out of hand. It is only the law, the law is the only thing which can help us right now. Because if you just sensitize people to talk about climate change is bad and everything, we are modernizing it, people are attending conferences, workshops, talking about climate change, they get allowances, they get back home, they enjoy the money they got from the workshops. It doesn't make sense in such a way.
Yes.
But we need to push for policies that promotes the safeguarding of the environment. So how can we do that? We, civil society organization, should demand for certain policies to be enforced into law, so that no one should litter anything on the environment anyhow. If anything, even plastic bottles, just the way we do on beer, alcohol, you can't buy alcohol, move with a plastic, with a bottle, if you don't deposit anything. So even if your plastic, it can be like that. If you don't have a plastic bottle to replace with the one that you want to get, you're not allowed to buy. In that way, things can be controlled a bit. So people should not litter anyhow. We've seen organizations trying to put plastics in the street, plastic bin bags, to asking people to throw their rubbish in those bins.
Yes.
That is an odd way of doing things, because despite doing that, plastic is not controlled again.
Yes.
So we must be strong in that. We must ask the government to help us push for, put these laws, the policies around environment should be strengthened, so that people should know that this earth, we are the ones who need this earth in order for us to survive. But this earth can survive even without us. So we are the ones destroying the environment. So if we work together with the government by sitting down and analyze the policies together, see the laws and everything, then put strict measures to say that if we are found throwing a plastic now, you are arrested. Then just there and then you are arrested, then you are fined. In that way, it is going to help than just talking, picking plastic bottles, modernizing it. We are seeing other organizations that are buying plastics. How do you solve plastics pollution by buying plastic? You don't solve plastic pollution like that. So we need to have other sources of garbage collections than buying plastic to solve plastic. It's not making sense. It doesn't make sense in that way. So we need to find other solutions on how we can control these issues of climate change. Sit together as a government and discuss, put laws and policies, then we can move. Yeah.
Earlier this year, I think it was in between June and November, we saw the officiating of Trash for Cash here in Livingstone by our mayor, Miss Constance. So how do you think Environment Africa is actually helping to fight against climate change with the Plastic for Cash program?
That program, I'm not quite aware of it, but I think the work that they are doing is quite great. Yes. So, and I was not part of that program, so I can't talk much about that.
Okay.
Yes.
And talking about businesses here in Livingstone, and we're supposed to be accountable for our actions, how do you think business people can balance between climate change and their businesses? Because most pollution comes from them. So how can they balance that?
Yes. When you go to businesses, you tell them about climate change and how they can balance and everything. Others, they have what we call corporate social responsibility program, where they give back to the community.
Yes.
But for us to balance climate thing, I think we need to go green. Like we need to reduce on what we use.
Yes.
In terms of maybe the way what we use for cooking, there are restaurants. We need to maybe reduce on the usage of water, also usage of electricity. Yeah, in such way actually the businesses can balance, because we are striving also as business people in trying to maybe save energy. I think you've seen ZESCO, what ZESCO is doing now. They are even giving households some energy saver bulbs, where those efforts is in trying to reduce on energy consumption. So even businesses themselves, they need to actually follow suit in terms of how they use their resources, how do they affect the environment and everything. So it's quite a lot of work, and education and knowledge is all over, and people know about these challenges. So what we are not only doing right now is taking the action, but otherwise people, they are quite aware about the environment. I've heard people complaining about the rainfall pattern. They say, no, this year if the rain is going to be bad, we are going to have hunger next year. You see people are happy when they see the rains and everything. So it's like everyone is aware of the climate issues, but what we just need to do is to try and reduce on activities that affect the environment. Then that way we can be at least safe. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kakandelo. We've learned a lot with the viewers today, I guess, on the importance of preserving our environment. So do you have any last words for people watching out there today?
Yes, we need to protect our environment. That one is a must. It's not an option. It's a must. Everyone, please, need to contribute, because a lot of people think that climate change can only be solved by the government. No, it's not the government. It is our responsibility. When you talk about climate change, you think that maybe it's the government who should solve this. It is us people who should work to solve climate change issues. So we need to preserve this earth, so that other future generations, when they come, they need to find it in good form, in good condition, and so that they can also enjoy the environment. And please, can we reduce on the cutting of trees? Also, the throwing plastics anyhow. These plastics are very much dangerous to our health. If we get into the water, we can have difficult problems that we can never even control maybe. So those are my last words.
Thank you so much for the insights you gave us today. We've learned so much, and we hope to have you next time again. Thank you, viewers, for joining us today. Join us next time again.
High levels of poverty,
Unemployment,
stigma and discrimination,
gender-based violence,
sexual harassment,
early marriages and pregnancies,
drug abuse.
leadership and governance.
These are some of the pressing issues affecting our communities.
Raise your voice and speak up, because you are the solution.
And by working together, we can create locally driven solutions that can transform our society and the world. Be a voice of change today.
Impact Show, the voice of change.